Alright, this video is basically about the Hegelian dialect. It's an old theory, but I'm kind of new to it. This is inspired really by the death of Prodigy. Rest in peace, Prodigy is a very, very, very great, influential rapper. He was really the first that I can remember that talked about the Illuminati. So everybody that is, talking about the Illuminati and how it's kind of everything's Illuminati now. He was the first rapper that I can remember in the 90s that talked about it. And I didn't know till he passed that he released an album. Excuse me, I'm a little sick. He released an album with the same title of this philosopher. I think he was German, and he basically came up with this philosophy that the human mind. I mean, there's a lot of people saying this stuff, but the human mind can only split, see things into two parts, and now people are, I guess, kind of evolving a philosophy saying that it's a problem, reaction, solution, and that the government is implementing this kind of philosophy onto the people. And when you listen to the album, his last album that came out, I think in January, February, it's not the best work, but the content is very good. And basically we're going to talk about how it's playing out today in society. So because when you look it up, they're going to have the thesis, the antithesis, and the synthesis. But the original person that, coined this term, he never came up with that. So I'm trying to stay true to the core of the philosophy, but, it still has evolved. So I look at it as the most obvious way to look at it as is the left and the right. And it's like when you talk to people, if you tell them, I can't think of a good example, but if you tell them you believe something, they associate what people stereotypically believe. Like if you said that that you're against abortion and that why should we pay for people's abortion? And, Planned Parenthood, they shouldn't, our federal money should not be going towards paying for people's abortion in places such as Planned Parenthood. If I was to say that to someone, they might automatically assume that I'm a conservative or I'm a Democrat. And if I say that, if I said something liberal, people are going to assume that you're a liberal. And this is kind of the philosophy that we've kind of been reduced to. And when you look at, even in the Afrocentric, community or Afrocentric thought, and even in other cultures, the thinking is more holistic, and it's not much of a dualistic kind of thinking. And that's kind of, I think, is going to be the downfall of American society, because it doesn't really nurture or appreciate anything that isn't surface level thinking. So, and it's like I say, they say it's problem, reaction, solution. So it's like the reaction is already in place. It's already predetermined. Like you can already predetermine how someone would judge you or think about you based off of what you think, because it's programmed, if that makes sense. So I think this plays out, obviously, and we don't even have to deal with the white supremacy. We don't have to deal with, we're going to get into that, but just focus on the black community. if you look at light skin versus dark skin, if you look at sellouts versus pro-black, if you look at bourgeoisie versus ghetto, if you look at older generation versus young generation, if you look at Democrats, we just vote Democrat, and if a black person votes Republican, they're a sellout. And now it's been reduced to the men versus the women. So, and I think it's important that we look within ourselves as a collective, because it's like once it's put into society, we will play the rest out. So we begin to look at everything dualistically and associate stereotypes with whatever, due to this philosophy. And now the election was a perfect example, because it wasn't who was the best candidate, it was the lesser of two evils. So, most suppose that Hillary or Trump, Trump was the lesser of two evils because of his lack of political track record, and, Hillary had all of this stuff with, Pizzagate, Illuminati, whatever. People believed that, Hillary was the more evil candidate, so they chose to, go for Trump despite his antics and different things like that. Whoever people felt was the lesser evil is my point. I'm not arguing who was actually the lesser evil. It's just people voted for who was the lesser evil for the most part. And this is why I say this will be the downfall of society, because it creates a fear to think outside the box. So when instead of Jill Stein or other candidates, people never considered them due to the fear of, we want to pick somebody that is the lesser of two evils. You see what I mean? It's not really thinking, okay, the majority of people don't even vote locally. And 9 times out of 10, who you vote for locally, especially your mayor, is going to have more control over your daily affairs than the president ever will. And that's what I'm saying, where it's just the psychology and the media, the brainwashing, is going to cause you to think good, bad, evil. You don't look through the gray areas. You don't look at stuff for what it is. And like I said, it causes you to react. Okay, if Trump is this bad guy, no matter who we have, we're going to put somebody else that will be the savior. If you have a God, you're going to need a devil. If Trump is the devil, then Hillary is going to save us. If Hillary is the devil, then Bernie Sanders is going to save us. If Bernie Sanders is the devil, then Jill Stein will save us. See, it's always a duality at play. Instead of lining up, this is their agendas and issues, this is their agenda and issues, what fits the best for what I want, or what is best for the country as a whole, for the direction we need to move in. And when people blame, Jill Stein, and it's another great example is when people blame Jill Stein and say, well, she caused Trump to win because people voted third party, and those few million votes could have went to Hillary Clinton. But they don't look at that the division within, between Bernie and Hillary voters is what caused that in the first place, because there was no, what I mean? There was no unison, no collective, we're going to just stand on this vote and this is it. So it's people, a lot of stuff you see is done out of fear. And a lot of stuff is done out of fear, and that is, of course, fear-based thinking and reaction is used to manipulate people. And you see it no greater in politics. I think where in other countries they can use straight-out dictatorship to incite fear, it's just as bad here because you have the illusion of choice. to people who think they have a choice. They think, but out of that illusion of choice, you're going to vote out of fear. You know what I mean? So the Hegelian dialect, I'm not doing the topic justice. I'm trying to make it short and compacted where you get a brief, good understanding of it. But you can relate it to a lot of stuff going on as far as the police shootings. There's a problem with police brutality, and they're inciting race and riots and stuff through the media and to incite martial law. So that's the problem, is the police shooting. The reaction is the rioting and the marching, and the solution will be the martial law. That's the first obvious example. There's other examples. You could talk about man-made diseases, them giving you the cure. You know what I mean? The disease, then you have the outbreak, which is the chaos, because order out of chaos is also another way to look at it. So you have the disease, which is the problem, the reaction, which is the chaos, and then the cure. But they're behind the problem, they're behind the reaction with the media, and they're behind the solution, the medical industry, or the laws, writing the laws, the martial law, different things like that. So I could go on and on about this. I really want to, but I'm trying to make it short so people can digest it properly. And give me examples where you've seen this play out, even on a local level, or, it could be an everyday thing, or it could be, something we can all relate to that we've seen in the media. So like, rate, and subscribe to the channel, and leave your examples in the comments below.